morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is your Hippydippypainerman, and welcome to this week's edition of the Fluid Art Express, and also to the first Fluid Art tutorial lesson in a series of many that you will be seeing here on the Hippydippypainerman channel. This first tutorial is going to be on layered cup, flip cup. Now, I'm not going to go into how we mix the paints because there's lots of people you can learn that from.
Well, we're all in a state of...
Everybody's in a state of flux right now because Bear has decided to discontinue their 8300, which we were all using to mix with. So there's a lot of experimentation going on out there. We're currently using Valspar, but that doesn't mean it'll work for you. We don't know if what we use works for you. It's according to where you are. It's according to what your level of humidity is. It's according to all kinds of stuff. So the best thing to do, guys, is listen to a bunch of people and see what they're doing, you know, and then experiment around on what works for you. Because what works for you might not be what works for me, and so on and so forth. So as far as viscosities and all that other stuff, what you're looking for on a layered cup pour like this, okay, is about what you see here. You see that? I mean, it does do a mound on a mound, but then it goes straight in afterwards. We're going to use 2 of these 12.5 ounce cups to do this with, and they're going to each be a little over half full, maybe 3/4 full, okay? What we're working on is a 16 by 20 Practica black canvas. That's this one right here, okay? Now let me mention as a disclaimer, if you're one of those people who doesn't like a lot of talking in your videos, this is not the video for you, because this is going to be an instructional video. This is lesson 1 of a series of instructional videos that I'm going to be doing. There will not be a bunch of music, if any music at all. There will be a lot of talking and discussion on how we do this. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the live comment if you're on right now, or you can put them in the comments after the close of the video and I will answer them. Now, the colors we're going to be using today are going to be Prince Purple from Eye Candy, okay? Golden Iridescent Copper Fine, this little piggy Lily Pad, this little piggy Sapphire, Deco Art Metallic Peacock Pearl, and last but not least, Matisse Southern Ocean Blue. Those are the colors we're going to be using. Now, there's 2 ways to do a flip cup. Either a dirty cup, and a dirty cup is when you put your paints in and just throw them in this way and go up high so that they mix good, okay? You're wanting to mix the paints. Then the other way you can do it is a layered cup. Today, we're going to do a layered cup. Now, with a layered cup, you can do a flip cup, or you can do what's called a ribbon pour, where you just, you know, pour it around like this. Now, we're going to do a flip cup. There's 2 ways you can do a flip cup. You can do a flip cup where you just flip like that, and then you lift straight up. Or you can do a flip cup where you flip and then you poke a little hole in the back of it right there. You do that into a puddle. You poke a little hole in the back of it right there, and it will slowly rise up and move around. They call that a grenade pour, okay? What we're going to do today is I'm going to do one of these cups and lift up, and one of them is a grenade pour, so you can see what happens between the 2 of them. Now, well, you choose your first color, which will be, the first color is generally going to be the one that's on top. I'm going to use this copper, this iridescent copper fine, because I just think it's pretty as my first color. Now, the way I layer it is instead of just pouring it in like that or going high, we're going to do it from the side and just pour it down the edge of the side. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and use the entire thing because we're doing two different ones. I don't know if you've gone back and seen everyone before me. I am the Caboose. We'd like to thank you for sticking around to the Caboose. If you haven't, please go back and check them out. They're all well worth your time. And let's welcome to the Fluid Art Express today, Let's Pour with Patty. She's our special guest this week. And please go ahead and check her out and make sure that if you're not subscribed to her, you subscribe to her. If you're not subscribed to me, then you can't chat in this live chat, so you're probably not talking right now. But go ahead and subscribe to me if you will. If you're not subscribed to anybody, subscribe to them, guys. Now, while I'm doing this, and I've got a moment while I'm digging it out, this might be a good time to discuss that this will be a series of lessons. This is lesson number 1. Things that we'll be exploring in this little series will be Dutch pours and chain pulls and blooms, dirty pours, and several others, that you'll enjoy learning about. So if you stick with me through this series, you will learn quite a bit. Next, we're going to do, I think, this beautiful Matisse Southern Ocean Blue. Put that in next. And again, we're going to go down the side so that it layers. Now, as you go with your paints, you want to go ahead and stir them again every time, because as paints sit, they will thicken up on you and need to be stirred again. So every time, go to the stir first, then you do your pour. Now, if you don't need this instruction and you find this long and boring, unfortunately, if you're in the live, you're stuck with it. But if you're watching this later on, you can always fast forward through it and see the end results if you just would like to see the end results and you don't need the instructions. And a little disclaimer here. What I'm showing you is what works for me, what I like to do, okay? It may not be what everybody does or how everybody does it. It may be totally different than the way you're learning it somewhere else. Whether you do it my way or that way is entirely up to you. I'll be the first to say that I'm no super expert at any of this. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and there's some things I do better than others, and some things that I don't do nearly as good as others. So I will leave that on you, whether you like it or not and want to see it or not. Next, we are going to do this gorgeous purple color, Prince Purple. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do the metallic Peacock Pearl. Again, according to how frugal you are, you don't have to scrape them out, And now another thing too, if you don't mix up your paint and use it right away, like if this had been sitting for a couple of days, a lot of times you don't want to scrape it out because it dries on the bottom side of it and you get what we call goobers, which is thickened paint that comes out in lumps. You don't want that. Now we're going to do the lily pad. And last but certainly not least, this incredible sapphire blue from TLP. I am not a TLP affiliate. However, I do like their colors. They have some pretty colors. The TLPs tend to be a little pricier than the eye candies, and that's why I like the eye candies myself. Now the eye candies are just as pretty. They have beautiful, beautiful colors, which you will see as these lessons go on. If you would like to purchase any of the eye candy colors, I am an eye candy affiliate. So if you go to the description of this video, you will find a link to take you to my special portal just for Hippy Dippy subscribers and people that come to my channel. And if you use the super secret password that's in there, you will get 10% off. So if you like it, go for it. Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and tape up the back side of this. Then after I tape it up, you'll notice that I spray a little water on it. I'm going to spray that water on it and let it dry on there. And what that does is it tightens up the canvas. Doesn't have to be perfect. And that's something you'll find that is a theme with me. I like art. I don't, sometimes we have, as Mr. Ross used to say, sometimes we have happy accidents. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't be hard on yourself. We are our own worst critics. Don't be rough on yourself. Just, if you think it's pretty, then it's pretty. No rules, just right. Remember that. A lot of these little techniques have their own little idiosyncrasies and rules and stuff like that of how it's supposed to be. But you know what happens if it doesn't turn out that way? It's just awful because you still have art. So, if you think it's pretty, it's pretty. Screw the rules. That'll be one of the few times you hear me say dirty words. Screw the rules. Enjoy yourself. That's the rule. Have fun with what you're doing. Now if you're, if you get to the stage where you're doing commissions and people want it a certain way, well, hey, sure, you got to make it that certain way for them, But if you're just doing this for you, then just do it for you. Don't worry about it, man. It's therapeutic. I'm a 100% disabled veteran, and I do this for me. And I teach to help you, which most of the time I don't do a lot of teaching. Doing this little bit to help my subscribers out there. Now we're going to take this, we're going to set this in the middle of it. You want to make sure that your canvas is reasonably level. And no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing flip cups or whatever, you're going to want the canvas to be level because you want to decide where the paint goes. You don't want gravity to decide where the paint goes. All right, we're going to make us a little puddle and shake that up. This is Sherwin-Williams Color to Go Tricorn Black. Now that we have the puddles, this is on the wrist, guys. It's on the wrist. You stay like this, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and tip that over. There you go. Okay. Now, let that sit for a sec. The reason we let it sit for a second is we want to get the stuff that's in the bottom. And we'll pop right in the middle. Alright, now that's not a big enough hole really to get me afloat, but it is a big enough hole that I can stick this in it. Well, guys, that's one of those situations where I said it'll either work or it won't, because it didn't really put much of a hole there. I should have used a tack, but you see I can turn it like this, and I can control what we're getting. Normally with a grenade pop, this would float around and release slowly, but we can do the same sort of thing by simply twisting around. This side, we're going to just do a straight dump, which means we just lift up. Now you see the difference in them? You see how when I go straight up, I get all these squigglies that come off of it and all that, but when you do the and you get a lot of little bubbles in that too sometimes, little cell-like creatures. But on the other one, when you let it float, it doesn't do that so much. You see what I'm saying? When you do the grenade pour. By the way, let me introduce my little friend and buddy and my teaching assistant. This is Buster.
Hello everybody, I'm Buster the Crab, and ain't I really fab? I want everybody to be at least 50%, of course you could be 75 or 100. at least 50% as happy as I am.
Go sit down, Buster. Stay tuned. We'll get you a wet flyby and a dry picture behind that so you can see how it looks. And this will conclude the instructional portion of the lesson on layered flip cup.
You can notice the big difference between the two sides.
Yeah.
This has got like ribbons on it. It's really pretty, where that's a little more chaotic.
Right. You can definitely notice a difference between the two sides. If you look at the right side here, you've got a little bit more control over the waves. If you look at the other side, it's just slightly more chaotic. All right, boys and girls, we are here for our wet flyby. And if you look at that, it came out pretty, I think. It'll be different when it dries, but this is what we've got right here. And this is your classic flip cup, layered cup pour. And like I said, this concludes lesson number 1 in fluid art technique. And we will have a dry picture behind this, so check that out, and we'll see you at fluid art technique lesson number 2.